We have been able to deploy technology within the renter board. Interestingly, most of our meetings are actually conducted remotely.
Oh, excellent.
Yeah. What makes the next meeting effective is what has happened in between meetings.
The learnings.
Yeah, the learnings and ensuring that there's preparation, but also ensuring that what was agreed upon in the last meeting
is done. Hello everyone, my name is Pheona Wall, the Executive Director of Fidelis Leadership Institute, but I'm here on behalf of ACLAIM Africa bringing you the Rent Board podcast. And ACLAIM Africa Limited has been advising institutions on governance and also assisting and consulting with them for many, many years. And their mission is to make sure that organizations thrive. And in this journey, which started around 1995, they've been able to support a few SMEs through their governance processes. And with me are two members from ACLAIM Africa, the Deputy CEO and the Vanessa?
Yes.
Yes.
Vanessa, Senior Analyst.
Yes, Senior Analyst.
Capability Leader, Organization Effectiveness at ACLAIM.
Wow, that's a lot of words, Vanessa.
Yes, it is. It's a mouthful.
So, say that again.
Senior Analyst and Capability Leader, Organization Effectiveness.
Yes, you can see she looks very capable. Nelson, what else do you do at ACLAIM? Apart from being the top honcho.
So what else I do? I chair a couple of boards, renter boards, and I serve on a couple of other renter boards.
Yeah.
But by and large, do leadership and management consulting for most of our clients. So if I'm not in the boardrooms, I am in the field doing management and leadership consulting.
Okay. And Vanessa, when you're not doing capability analysis, and what else do you do?
Yes, so Renter Board sits under my capability, organizational effectiveness. So I do serve on boards as well as a secretary.
Yes.
Yeah. So.
And you serve as a chair.
As a chair.
Okay. So I'm with the chair and the secretary.
Yeah.
This is the heart of the board.
Yeah.
And we are speaking about governance. Governance, being looked at as the lifeline of organizations. And today we focus on SMEs. Why do SMEs need a board? And with me are two people that have been serving on SME boards for quite some time. So how has your experience been, Vanessa, being secretary to these boards? I mean, they're advisory boards. They don't really have binding obligations on the institution. But how has your experience been? Have you seen value? 1, 2, has it impacted you as an individual in your work?
Sure.
Yes.
First of all, people think of secretaries and they think of minute takers. So I'm not just a minute taker.
Especially when they're women.
Yes.
Yes.
That's true.
Yeah.
So I'm not just a minute taker. We support these SMEs even right before we go in for the meetings. Many of them have questions around, how do I even prepare these reports to the board? How do I present myself to the board? What do I say? So my role is part of that, preparing them, sharing with them our reporting templates as ACLAIM, taking them through and ensuring that they understand what is expected of them, and also prepping them for how they're going to interact with the board and encouraging them to feel free and express themselves, because ultimately the board is there to support them and hear them out. So my role is around that. But even within the meetings themselves, yes, I'll take the minutes, but I will ensure that the actions that have been discussed are well documented in the minutes, and then I'll go ahead to draw them out into what we call an action points tracker and use that document to then follow up the respective persons, both from management and the board side. Again, with the kind of boards that we constitute, we look at individuals who are not just experts in their fields, but people who are also business consultants, people who are passionate about supporting businesses. So we then reach out to them to say, hey, you asked, maybe for finance reports.
Yes.
But this entity doesn't have that capacity. So we call upon, say, the finance expert, please handhold this SME, give them the templates that they need, give them the support that they need to be able to provide the kind of information that you're going to use to support their decision making at the board level. So that's my kind of role. And I help to marry both the board and management. I think of it if you think of, like, say, a conductor, this music conductor for a choir, they're not necessarily singing, but they are there to ensure that the voices are harmonious, the tenors, the basses. So in my work, I'm ensuring that there's that harmony between management and the board. Yeah. So in a summary, that's my work.
And how has that impacted you?
How has that impacted me? I know that not many people who are starting off in their careers have the chance to serve on boards.
Yes.
And I love that I have that chance to do that in ACLAIM through Renter Board, serving on advisory boards, getting a chance to listen into these conversations, very strategic conversations that have helped me to even change my thinking in the way that I operate, in the way that I do my work, in the way that I manage my personal affairs as well. Yeah, so I'm really grateful for the opportunity to listen into the different minds and their expertise. Yeah.
I'll come back to you because your role is very, very important.
Yeah.
And we're going to come back to the role and why. Nelson, what has your experience been chairing these boards? Do you believe you've added value? Have you even been given the leeway to add value?
Very, very interesting question that you ask.
Yeah.
Whether I believe that we've been able to create value, I think I will answer it from a scenario. So one of the boards that I chair, the very first board, so once we were done with the board meeting, the managing director of the SME called me and said, yes, we've signed on. Yes, the meetings are going to go on, but there's something that I did not tell you. I think as the chair, I want you to help me. We are on a journey of closing this company. So I want you to help me to walk with me on this journey of closing this company.
Wow.
Because I have done my assessment and I feel we are almost at that point.
Yeah.
So I know that you will be disappointed, but
this is where we are.
This is where we are at. So I kind of paused. On one hand, I was disappointed because I knew we had come to, really support and work with this institution. But because I know that in most cases, most of these entities do not know very well their entities. Yes, you're running your entity, but there's a bit more of the information that you haven't that you haven't been able to explore. So I said, don't worry, let's run 2-3 meetings.
Wait. You came to be the godfather and they made you the undertaker. That is so funny.
So that's part of this. That's part of this renter board.
Yeah.
So I ended up doing the mentorship. So I said, let's just have this for the 3 next board meetings, and we'll have a conversation when we come for the 4th board meeting at the end of the year. So we did the 2nd meeting, and there were a number of things that were disturbing her. So we had issues to do with the taxman. We had issues to do with profitability. But as we started to ask questions, I love to ask the questions. And if my board is not asking questions, then we are about to close it.
Yeah.
So we started to ask the questions. With the support of the secretary and other board members, then we are able to help them to get the right reporting. Because what we figured out as we started to analyze their information was that there's something that was missing.
Yeah.
There's something that they were not capturing. There's something that was not coming through as they were making decision. So here is a business owner who was about to make a wrong decision.
Yeah.
And once we fixed the fundamentals, the business in the next quarter, the reporting came out positive. This is a business that was actually making profit. And in the next board meeting,
You revived
the MD was actually talking about expansion.
So you went for a funeral and came back with babies.
With babies. So in the next meeting, we were talking about expansion, and that's a conversation that we've been on. So, some time back, I was joking with her and I was saying, do you remember the time when we wanted to close? Do you still think the time is right? We can have that conversation. And she says, I've since moved on.
That's an amazing testimony. Yeah. I think that it speaks to the value of a board, but it also speaks to the value of a board that you've allowed to give you advice. Because if that CEO was determined to close that company, you'd have added absolutely no value.
Absolutely.
So I think it's important to have a teachable spirit as an SME. If you want advisors, you have to be open to another perspective, because that's what a board is, another perspective, a professional expert perspective. So coming back to the role of the secretary, this is dear to me because I was a secretary to boards for many, many years. But the thing that we've seen the board secretary role becoming more and more professional. I think these days even, legislation requires you to have certain skills in order to be a secretary of a board. We've seen there's a whole course of chartered secretaries, that you're accredited. But if you were speaking to this, because I've also seen organizations, especially private organizations that do not have any obligations to fulfill governance requirements in that way, they ignore the role of the secretary. They sort of even make the CEO the secretary, or, as you said, they think it's a minute taker. So tell me, how important is this role? And if you are speaking to an SME out there, what would you emphasize?
Thank you. When I think of my role as a secretary, one, as I mentioned, it's really beyond what's happening in the meeting and also taking minutes. But also when I think of how I have an opportunity to then support this SME in between meetings, because what makes the next meeting effective is what has happened in between meetings.
The learnings.
Yeah, the learnings, and ensuring that there's preparation, but also ensuring that what was agreed upon in the last meeting is done. Those actions are implemented. So many times you'll see that board meetings won't be effective if we are still going to talk about the past. And then the meeting of quarter 2 feels like the one of quarter 1. So the reason why I take my role so seriously is because I know that it is my responsibility to then reach out to these management team members of the SME, talk to them, encourage them to please ensure that you follow through on the actions. Many times they get tired. They feel like, they're being pestered. Don't you have other things to do, Vanessa, other than reaching out to me every, monthly basis, asking for when I'm going to give you these reports or when I'm going to do this particular thing. But I know ultimately that is where real impact is. And that is where the board's effectiveness is felt, when their recommendations are taken and then implemented for the betterment of the organization. And I'm glad that we've seen that play out with Renter Board, with the clients that we have, walking the journey with them from year 1 to year 3, and seeing that they've been able to implement the actions. And the result of that is then some of the things that we're able to see as a result of that implementation and that action taking and reaching out, just like Nelson explained with that wonderful testimony. And so it has been something that I've found really rewarding on my end, because then you will see that we'll have clients who then say, wow, I see what you are telling me to do. I see the value of it. And then they go ahead to even recommend others to say, hey, you need to take this on.
Or you need a secretary.
Ultimately, you will get people who will support you, and you won't have balls that you keep dropping along the way, but you'll have someone to keep you on your toes and say, hey, this is important for you. I mean, I think of people who are like patients, difficult patients for doctors who someone is like, I don't take this medicine, but the medicine is good for you.
Yeah, actually, someone I spoke to, Alan, said that the company is like a patient.
Yes, it's a patient, and some of the patients you need to,
to be patient.
Yeah, be patient and
push.
keep on them, keep pushing, because ultimately they'll get better, they'll appreciate it, and ultimately we want to see their sustainability, and it all comes from implementing those small actions, and that is a role that I'm able to support them on. Yeah.
That's excellent. Let's discuss technology. Yeah. How have you been able to use technology in helping boards be more efficient, especially if you're on many boards and you want to be an effective chair? How do you use technology for your effectiveness as a chair? Even as you speak to chairs out there who might feel overboarded. When are you overboarded? You know what I mean? When is it that you can start saying no to board chairing positions? Is it when they're 5, 6? Yeah.
So I think that in terms of technology, we have been able to deploy technology within the renter board. Interestingly, most of our meetings are actually conducted remotely.
Oh, excellent!
And
so
that,
what are you using?
So
just for the SMEs out there, so that they know that this.
So we are using simple. We're using simple tools, such as Zoom, such as
because it records.
Such as Teams, and these tools are available. They are not very expensive, and they have been proven to be very effective. Because what this does is that, especially when we are setting dates for the meeting. In most cases, some of the experts will tell you, or the board members will tell you that I'm going to be in Nairobi on this particular day. So there is a clash.
Yes.
However, the clash is not on the time, because the board is just 2 hours. The board meeting is just 2 hours.
The clash is on location.
So the clash is on the location.
Yeah.
So because of this flexibility, courtesy of technology, then we are able to say, no. Don't worry about where you will be.
We will be on Zoom.
Just worry about the timing, whether during that time you will be available. And once it makes it very easy to farm down dates.
You're already using calendaring?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
You schedule?
Yes, we schedule.
So you schedule in time. I think that's very important.
Ahead of time.
For SMEs.
Yes, absolutely. And then that also allows the SME to prepare.
Yeah.
To prepare for the board, because you also don't want to be in a board where the papers are not of quality, because that 2 hours, it's a very short period of time.
2 hours,
It's a very short. It's a very short period of time. So you want to schedule ahead and give processes for preparation of board papers, for the board papers to be received by members ahead of time, maybe 7 days or 1 week ahead. In our preference really is 7 days, so that the board members are able to receive these papers, read them, and what we've also done, we've integrated WhatsApp. So we make sure that we create a WhatsApp group for all the board members. In the event that you're not able to catch us on email,
give your comments.
You can be able to have this conversation ongoing on the WhatsApp platform, on email, and on phone call, so that this conversation does not necessarily stop within the board meeting.
Yes.
That it continues, because the 2 hours, and in most cases the agenda is packed with seven items, and you still need to be able to get out decisions. So technology has been very pivotal in ensuring that we run these boards efficiently, but also it helps you who wants to serve on many boards in terms of reducing time spent moving. You're a board chair, and perhaps on one day you have 2 board meetings and you need to be moving. It won't be possible.
Yeah.
Now that starts to weigh on you because of the need for you to be physically present. But once you make this a remote exercise to the extent possible, it then starts to allow you some bit of time, the time you would have spent in jams, maybe having lunch in the boardroom. Now, this time is strictly spent on the business and in the meeting. And I think you ask the question of how many boards
is too many.
is too many. I think for me, to answer that question, I would say that as a board member or as a board chair, if you get to a point where you feel you are not providing value to that institution because you are not available. Because sometimes you don't want to be chairing a meeting and you haven't read the papers.
Exactly.
That meeting is you're doing catch up as you're chairing the meeting, and you just have only 2 hours. So if you get to that point where you enter a board meeting and you do not have, you haven't read the papers and you haven't read all the papers and maybe gone over them again to ensure that you're getting the issues right, then it might be a time to say, I think I need to pause. I think I have had enough.
Thank you so much. So the Corporate Governance, the Companies Act of Uganda, the amended one, requires companies to keep their records for 7 years. And there's somebody out there who's thinking, if I go on Zoom, they'll keep my secrets. But if you go on Zoom, that board will not waste your time. They will speak for strictly 2 hours because they don't want to be quoted. Yeah. They know they're being recorded, so they'll say only what is relevant. So I'll ask you each to just give me one last thing that you do not want the people out there to forget about your role.
Yeah.
Yes.
Thank you. So when I think about my role, in a few words, really, it's hand-holding management, supporting them to be able to get the most out of the board, and also the board in turn getting the most out of management, and both parties being able to experience what it means to actually see an organization thrive because you have brought in people to come in and speak into the entity, and also ensuring that the things that were agreed upon, actions from meetings past are available also, for you to go back and reflect. Sometimes we've seen organizations, you're asked to implement something and maybe it's not the right time, maybe because of circumstances beyond even your control, but because we're keeping a proper record of this information, you're able to go back and see, I remember this action. I think it's time that we put this into play, and then you see that things are able to improve. So I would say that it's not a role to be ignored. It's not just minute taking. It's hand-holding management, and supporting the board to be effective in their role as well.
Excellently said. Yes, Mr. Chairman.
I think as a chair, my role largely is to facilitate.
Yeah.
Mine is to facilitate, and as I facilitate, because we have a wealth of experience among the board members, and this needs to be brought out.
Yes.
And make sure that it serves the
client.
To be mined.
Yeah.
So my role as a chair is to make sure that I mine.
Yes.
I mine and I'm able to make sure that this advice really is helpful and relevant to the SME. Because at the end of the day, I have to make sure that the organization is living up to its aspirations. We have to keep our true north, and as such, as a chair, if I do not facilitate conversations that ensure that the decisions being made are reinforcing, are adding value, and are ensuring that the organization is kept in check in as far as either compliance is concerned, in as far as its vision is concerned, then I think I will have failed in my role. So think about, think of me as that really facilitator of these conversations to decision making that is helpful for these institutions and that is going to advance them to the next level.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Vanessa and Nelson from ACLAIM Africa Limited with the Renter Board program. Thank you on behalf of the SMEs that you've been, I think that being a board chair or being a board member, you are the custodian or you are the steward of vision. And the Bible says that my people die for lack of a vision, and one of the things that we've seen is that even do you like football?
Yeah.
What's your favorite team? I hope it's not Arsenal.
Oh,
I'm sorry. Okay, so anyway, but so Arsenal has a coach.
Yes.
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 Yeah, they're a fantastic team in the world. Everybody wants to know them, but they still need a coach, right? So even the greatest teams need coaches. And I think that the board is the coach of the organization. So thank you very much. You've really said it. It's been Pheona Wall, Vanessa from ACLAIM, and Nelson, the Deputy CEO, saying have a fantastic day. Remember, governance is important for the sustainability and the prosperity of your dream, of your vision. And also remember to rent a board if you need one.